Well, welcome everyone. This is Raquel, and it is February 22nd in the year 2020. And we are at the fourth portal of five in this incredibly auspicious and intense month as we begin into the 2020 energies and beyond. 20 days ago, we stepped through the first threshold of this new energy. And for many of you, February has been a pretty intense month with these new, very high unity consciousness, Aquarian code frequencies that are coming onto the planet. And we talk about portals, we talk about thresholds, we talk about these specific spaces and places in time and space within this reality. And yes, these are all very much tied into the Gregorian calendar. They are tied into what most of, or a good portion, not all, but a good portion of humanity works with as far as times and dates. And so this portal, which is the fourth of five this month, is another influx of incredible light that is coming into the matrix, into our atmosphere, and affecting our physical bodies and our energetic fields. These light frequencies that are coming in are very different than they were before we walked through the first threshold on February 2nd. They are coming in and going deeper than any other light infusion has to date. And that makes perfect sense. This is the evolution of light coming onto the planet for the specific job of waking us up, having us remember who we are as divine beings of light on the planet. And so this particular influx of light that has been kind of intense because we've had back to back. We started this on the 20th, which was 2 days ago, and it's been kind of a nonstop. We usually do a day before and a day after the portal opens. So we've really been in this for multiple days now. And so as we sit in this 2-2-2-2 portal, what's happening is that this light, there's lots of different names for it. You can call it photon light. You can call it all kinds of different things. But as it comes in and actually hits our physical body, it's going into the cells of the skin. And this is regardless of whether you're spending time outside or not in the sun. The light particles penetrate through into the skin and into the body and into the DNA. And of course, we know that the DNA stores an immense amount of information. And as we continue to unlock, as we continue to activate, as we continue to be affected by the light codes, the light rays, the light, again, it's a bunch of semantics, but what's really happening is that as this light comes in through these portal dates, and they're specifically designed, yes, the universe is orchestrating these based upon our Gregorian calendar as it comes into the atmosphere of Earth herself as Gaia, and those upon it receive these light codes in a very specific and systematic way. And so as we sit here in this particular portal, we are moving into a deeper release and receiving. And that happens simultaneously. As we release density, and that's really what's happening. Some of you may even feel like it's a jackhammer coming in because it's really a very different frequency of light again, and our bodies are just starting to get used to it. This is the first phase of this two energy that is coming onto the planet. And so it can feel a bit jarring at times. But right now, it feels more intense than it will as we get more used to the frequency of it. And what it's doing is, once again, it's breaking up the debris, if you will. That's just a way to describe it, so that a much more refined light frequency can actually penetrate. So, as if we're going to the next level, a deeper level within the constructs of our DNA and our coding within our physical bodies, first we have to get to that layer, which is more of an excavation. And that's more of the jackhammer feeling that's going on, so that the infusion of light can actually penetrate down into the body and into the cells. And that's what's happening right now. And we are getting ready. We've been in this process all month long, and you may have felt just a little bit more agitated this month, and for good reason. So if you are, celebrate that. And you're like, why would I celebrate that? It's because you are really going deeper into the experience, into excavating the lower frequencies, if you will, and preparing to receive an influx of light. And so today we are in another level of receiving, and this is, again, the final preparation for the last portal date, which is coming up on Leap Day. I really wasn't paying attention at the beginning of the month to realize that there were 5 of these, which is massive change, right? We go back to numerology. 5 is the number of change. And 4, the fourth one is foundation. And so we're really setting the foundation for what is coming on Leap Day, the 29th, which only happens once every 4 years. And so we are in preparation once again to receive a whole nother influx of light. And this light, once again, is going in to activate memory, to open up the cellular records, if you will. And it's a really exciting thing because we are moving, as we've talked about, and so many are talking about, moving out of the one energy and into the two energy. And someone asked me, well, that seems completely opposite of the explanation that's coming, because one seems like it should be the unified and two separation. And actually, it's the exact opposite. One was the identification of the ego. One was the I experience without the connection to source energy, which we're moving towards. And the 2 is the partnership. The 2 is the unity of your expression as source energy connecting back to the totality. Well, that's the goal. It will be a while before we get the totality, but your expression as an individualized experience of source and reconnecting back to that greater wisdom of source energy and that unity coming back into play. And so it's a really exciting time. But if you've been feeling like you're more irritated, if you've been feeling like you're more on edge this month, recognize that it's not just your energy, but the collective you're feeling. Because whether they're aware or awake or not, every single person on this planet is getting hit with these particular light codes. And those that are unconscious, who are not awake and are not on the path, have no idea what's going on. And so we as a collective as humanity have really been getting triggered. And those of us who are the light workers and the sensitive ones tend to pick up on that at a much deeper level. And so much of what you've been experiencing is the collective versus your own. If we could isolate you out, what you would actually feel would be very little because you've been prepping, you have been clearing, you have been activating your cells, your blueprints for a very long time. At least most of you have, if you've been doing the work for any time at all. And so your individualized experience would be much different if the collective were not feeling this experience and just reacting in their most human way, which is usually agitation and confusion and fatigue and all of those things. And so if you've been experiencing that, make sure you're coming from it from a state of mastery where you're recognizing that it's not all yours. As light workers, as way showers, we signed up to help process for the collective. That's why we're here. And so being in the awareness that it's not all yours and being able to just hold the fields to allow that energy to process. And I know we're all sick of that word. I know I am. Processing, but we do, as a level of love and compassion, we help to hold the fields to transmute the energy, and often that comes through us because we are the channel of light, and we are the quickest, most effective way to actually move and transcend it. And so you need to keep that in mind as we move forward, that you, as a divine vehicle of light, as a way shower, as someone who's on the forefront of consciousness, we have chosen. But to be able to step into the awareness that, ooh, it's not mine. I'm just processing. Okay, I'll hunker down and I'll allow my expertise as a divine vehicle of light for transformation to work through these lower densities for humanity. You can move through this with a lot more ease and grace. And so with that, just understand that we're moving into another level of consciousness. And when I say that, there's a whole nother stream of awareness for those of us who have prepared, for those of us who are ready and willing to say yes. The energies that are coming with the download, if you will, the portal that's coming through the download on Leap Day is going to be massive. And so celebrate that we're in preparation. Celebrate that we are working towards a whole nother level of connection, and that we are also stewards and those who are so compassionate for humanity that we're willing to process for them. Got to keep that in mind. So with all of that, just celebrate that we are really experiencing this new frequency of light. And anytime we change frequency bands, it's a little rough in the beginning because our body is not used to that frequency band of light. And so with that recognition, celebrate it. Know that you're doing your job and you're doing your job well. And just open up to receive that which is coming with this new 2222 unity Aquarian energy.